Kanye West shaped a lot of what I do, you know, as far as music goes. We always took the time to listen to Kanye's music and appreciate it. We search the samples and we find out like where his inspiration comes from, because he has one of the best ears in music, period. You know, he knows how to recognize great music that's not his. He knows how to recognize he knows how to utilize great sounds and great music. I have no desire to ever mend anything with that person. And yeah, that situation just went, you know, it just went where it went. And it's just, there is no turning back. It's not like those other situations.
It represented overcoming fear and doing what you felt, no matter what anyone said, and saying, you can't bully me.
Kanye West, the very guy Drake once worshipped like a big brother, might have been the one who let Drake's darkest secret slip out. Yeah, that secret. The one Pusha T blasted in The Story of Adidon, forcing Drake to admit he had a son. Fans been whispering for years, but when you peep the timeline, the studio sessions, and who had the inside scoop, all the signs point straight at Kanye. Was Ye just sloppy? Or did he straight up hand Drake's secrets to his ops? Their relationship was never a smooth ride, but what most people forget is it started with pure respect. Drake idolized Kanye. He even called Ye the biggest influence on his sound. And if you vibe to early Drake tracks, you'll hear Kanye's DNA all over him. That raw emotion, those rich beats, the guts to be different, that was Kanye's style first. Drake didn't just admire him, he studied him like a masterclass. Whether Drake realized it or not, Kanye was the blueprint for everything he became, and Kanye knew it. They even had moments that looked unbreakable, like when Ye popped up as a surprise guest at Drake's 2013 OVO Fest. He didn't just perform, he gave Drake mad respect in front of a packed crowd that went wild. Drake was straight up shocked. He thought their respect was mutual, but that respect came with a burning ambition. Drake wasn't just hyping Ye up, he was plotting to pass him up. And when he allegedly said, "I don't want to be as good as Kanye, I want to be better," everything shifted. For someone like Ye, that had to feel like a straight challenge, like Drake was gunning for his throne. As Drake kept rising, things between him and Kanye started getting real weird. The love was still there, but so was something else: tension. In one interview, Drake threw shade at Kanye's Yeezus album, clowning some of the wild lines on there. Like that sweet bar, man, even Fabulous wouldn't drop something that cringy. That was a bold move, but in classic Drake fashion, he flipped the script later, allegedly saying, "Kanye's the reason I'm here. I love everything about that guy." So what was it? Respect or rivalry? It was looking more and more like both, a twisted mix of admiration and competition. Meanwhile, Kanye wasn't just sitting quiet. In one interview, he casually teased that he and Drake might drop an album together, then tossed in, "that kind of thing," like it was nothing. But that wasn't random at all. That was Ye being Ye, throwing bait just to see how Drake would react. And that only cranked the heat on their already sizzling beef. Then came the real personal shots. Drake was allegedly caught hanging out with Amber Rose, Kanye's ex, not long after she and Ye split up. They were spotted vibing at a club, and even though nobody confirmed a thing, the dating rumors caught fire instantly. Then came the infamous move that shocked everyone. Kanye allegedly posted Drake's home address on Instagram for the world to see, then quickly deleted it. But the damage was already done. That's when fans really believed Kanye had crossed the line. This wasn't just rap beef anymore. It was reckless and real-world dangerous. Yeah, there was still some admiration buried in the chaos, but it was all tangled up with sneaky jabs, passive-aggressive shots, and a never-ending battle to one-up each other. It wasn't just Drake versus Kanye. It had morphed into Drake battling the very man he once looked up to. And maybe still did, deep down. The more Drake climbed the charts, the more it felt like Kanye couldn't stand seeing him on top. But all that love, tension, and silent shade didn't first blow up on a diss track. It exploded in the mountains of Wyoming. Drake actually flew out there to help Kanye cook up his next album. Crazy, right? Despite their rocky past, despite all the tension, Drake still pulled up. At first, people thought it was just wild internet gossip until Drake's own photographer casually dropped a pic from the snowy peaks. That's when everyone knew this was real. Drake was really out there in Wyoming with Ye, for real. And soon after, it was basically confirmed. Reports started buzzing that both of them were holed up at the Amangani resort, rolling under fake names to keep things low-key. But Drake didn't just show up empty-handed. He brought his engineer, a songwriter, and even a whole truckload of studio gear. Word on the street was they built a legit recording fortress at Kanye's private villa, hidden away from the main hotel. On the surface, it looked like a creative dream team finally reuniting, two titans of the game cooking up fire beats, savage bars, and maybe even a joint album. That's what everyone thought was going down. But behind those locked studio doors, the energy wasn't just about music. It was something way deeper. Insiders spilled that Drake walked in with his heart wide open, not just down to work, but ready to trust Ye like family. He felt safe, like he could drop his armor and just be real, not just about the music, but about his life. It wasn't just 808s echoing through those mountains. It was raw vulnerability, like talking heart to heart with a brother. And that's when it went down. Sources claim Drake dropped a bombshell he'd never shared outside his closest circle, that he had a secret son. Unfinished tracks, personal bars, all of it spilled out like it'd stay locked in that room forever. But here's the shocking twist. Just weeks later, that same secret exploded as the centerpiece of a vicious diss track that shook the industry. The only question that mattered now was Wyoming ever really about the music, or was it all a setup to get at Drake? Drake never even saw it coming. Remember when Pusha T dropped the story of Adidon? People weren't just calling it a diss. They were calling it career-defining, maybe even life-changing. This wasn't your average rap beef. This time, Push didn't just come for Drake's bars. He unleashed the one secret nobody saw coming: Drake's hidden son. Word on the street said it was the coldest diss of the entire decade. That track was savage, packed with brutal punchlines and icy facts that hit harder than anyone expected. You can still feel the chill when you listen to Push spit those ruthless lines in the diss. It shut down Drake's entire Adidas rollout in an instant and forced him to step up and reveal his son to the world. Let's be real. That moment flipped Drake's whole world upside down. Push even twisted the knife deeper by drawing a brutal parallel, connecting Drake's absent father to the idea that Drake might do the same to his own kid. It was a low blow that cut deep. But while Push was spitting all that, most fans only focused on the shock of Drake's secret child. Part of them even thought it made Drake step up and become a better dad. But the real burning question was this: how did Push even find out about Drake's son in the first place? He's openly said he can't be anywhere near Drake, not even the same studio. So it wasn't like Drake blabbed it himself. And don't forget, at that exact time, Push wasn't just out doing his own thing. He was locked in with Ye. Kanye was the executive producer of Daytona, the very album that set this whole beef back on fire. They weren't just label mates. They were side by side in the studio, building tracks from the ground up like a powerhouse duo. So if Ye caught wind of something in Wyoming, it's not wild to think he let it slip, maybe even casually, without grasping how big the fallout would be. But here's the kicker. Our insiders say Drake was certain his secret was airtight. Only a tiny circle knew, And one of those people was Kanye himself, sitting right there in the studio acting like they were brothers. Then, not long after that Wyoming trip, Pusha T dropped the bombshell diss, and suddenly Drake's deepest secret was on blast for the whole world to pick apart. At first, there were just hushed rumors, but the more the dots lined up, the louder the talk got. Did Ye really tip Pusha off? Was it harmless gossip or something way more calculated? Because at that moment, Drake was unstoppable, dropping hit after hit, cashing in on huge endorsements, climbing to global superstardom. Meanwhile, Ye was spinning out, MAGA hats, wild Twitter rants, albums getting delayed. The vibes were all off for Kanye. So was it really just an accident, or was it a perfectly laid trap? It started to feel like a cold, careful move, like Ye might have planned it from the jump. Of course, Kanye denied everything. But let's be honest, Drake was in Wyoming, feeling safe, wide open, trusting the man he looked up to. And out of nowhere, his entire private life went nuclear on the internet. And weirdly, it all fell into place way too perfectly. And here's the part that really messes with people's heads. What if this was never about music, or just some rap beef? What if Wyoming wasn't a collab gone sideways, but a trap Ye had planned from the very start? Drake trusted him, spilled secrets only family should hear, thinking he was safe. And then boom, just days later, those same secrets get weaponized in a brutal diss track. So tell me, was this a setup from the jump? Or was it just Ye being Ye? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on that bell so you never miss the latest tea. See you in the next one.